I know. If you have been here for a while, you know that I have been making the concerted effort to quit coffee. And I do indeed have a coffee in my hands right now, but I have an explanation, okay? Your girl is old. I am 37 years old, and I went to the Halsey concert last night and then gambled with my father-in-laws, and I did not get home until like 2 o'clock this morning, and then I couldn't fall asleep, and I had to be up at 6. So I am operating on like 3 hours of sleep today, and man, am I feeling it. I just cannot party like I used to. I'm like a fuddy-duddy old lady, so I am giving myself this pass today, because if there was ever a day designed for large amounts of caffeine consumption, it would be today. I am now so accustomed to the furnace running, I didn't even realize it was running in that last clip. I'm now tuning her out. Anyways. Why is coffee so good? It would be so much easier to quit if it wasn't so good. Hey guys, welcome back to another one. So this week, I actually left my video filming up to you. I asked you guys on Instagram what you wanted me to film, whether you wanted an HP part 3, a readathon part 3, or a new challenge, and 45% of you said that you wanted HP part 3, which is why you guys are my people, because you just get it. I'm glad that you watch or enjoy watching these videos as much as I enjoy making them, because they are my favorites to make. I'm obsessed with Harry Potter. You know this. For anyone who hasn't tuned in to one of these videos before, I have a wheel that we will bring up in 2 seconds with, I believe, 195 different Harry Potter prompts. When I say prompts, I mean characters, places, events, items, objects, creatures, all sorts of things that could come up on this wheel. And each of those items has an associated prompt that will direct us to the book we are going to read next. So without further ado, let me grab my iPad and let's do our first spin to figure out what Harry Potter character, item, place, event is going to choose our read this week. When I tell you I am feeling tired, I am feeling so tired. I'm already thinking about going to sleep tonight, and it's only 5:45 and I still have to go to an entire soccer game. It's going to be a rough one, but the coffee should help. So here is our Harry Potter wheel. Like I said, there's 195 different options on that wheel, and I could sit here and explain it all day, but I think the best way to do this is just to spin, and you guys will catch on if you've never seen this before. So let's do our shuffle so that our wheel is random, and do our first spin. 3, 2, 1. So if you guys have never watched this, it never gives me good ones, ever. We always get like villains or horrible characters. The pensieve. Okay. This could go either way, because the pensieve was kind of a really annoying item in the movie, but it could be kind of a cool prompt. Let me grab it. Scrolling all the way down to P. And here is our pensieve prompt. The pensieve, a magical object used to store and recall memories. Dumbledore famously has one in his office that he and Harry can use to review the past. Read a book with water on the cover or on the sprayed edges. Water on the cover or the sprayed edges. Okay. Hopefully there's something on my TBR, but I don't think there is. So we might be deviating off of the TBR for this one. I was really hoping we weren't going to do that. Guys, when I tell you I had so many options for books with water on the edges or the cover, this is just the selection of books that I picked that I have interest in from my physical shelves. There was easily another like 6 or 7 books that would have fit the prompt, but I just wasn't as interested as these. And then I found another like 5 to 6 on my Kindle. So we are obviously not going to go through all of these, but I am going to show you them, give you a brief little synopsis on my thoughts, and then we will like narrow it down to top 3 or 4. So let's start off by saying that there are 2 of these physical options that are actually on my TBR this month, but let me grab my phone and we're gonna do a little bit of research because first we need to establish whether snow and ice is considered water. So let's let Google make this decision. Is snow water? Okay, the AI on Google says yes. Snow is comprised of frozen water, which is the solid state of water. So if snow is water, ice is water. So we are going to go ahead and assume that Google knows everything, and we are going to count snow and ice as water for the purposes of this, which means that the 2 that are on my TBR will fit the prompt. The first one is Barbarian Mind by Ruby Dixon. This is book 4? I think 3 or 4 in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I love it. It's a smutty little alien romance, like a good time, nothing too serious. Just clear your brain and read about these girls that get taken by aliens. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is snow and ice, and the planet that they get taken to is an ice planet, hence Ice Planet Barbarian. So I'm going to count it. The next book on my TBR that is going to count because snow and ice are water is Bear Town by Frederick Bachman. I want to read this book, but like I said when I was picking my TBR, I don't know that I would have necessarily primarily like prioritized this as a June book by the pool because this feels very wintry to me, but there is a frozen lake covered in ice. So this is a really sad book about a town that's devoted to hockey, and I think uses the morale of the hockey team to try to overcome a tragedy that happens in their town. I don't want to know too much about this before I go into it, but do I feel like crying right now? Not really. Next up, I could go with Deep End by Allie Hazelwood. It just says a competitive diver and an ace swimmer jump into forbidden waters in this steamy college romance. I have heard this is one of her spiciest books to date, which is definitely speaking to my brain right now. That is kind of like what I'm wanting to read, like a ton of spice in a book, specifically monster romance and monster spice. So I don't know if this would really fit that, but it does sound good, and I definitely think that counts. It's about a swimmer with water on the cover. And the sprayed edges are water. I could also go with Every Summer After. Why am I having such a struggle with this? Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. Obviously, it's a little lake romance. It says 6 summers to fall in love, 1 moment to fall apart, a weekend to get it right. So takes place on a lake. I also grabbed A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Cathrall. This is the gorgeous, I believe, Fairy Loot. Yeah, Fairy Loot edition. It does have these like ocean themed sprayed edges, and also the entire front cover takes place underwater. And then on the back, you can see the underwater scene as well. I, once again, don't know much about this, but it is a mermaid romance, I believe. It says it's a charming fantasy set in an underwater world with a magical academia and a heartwarming pen pal romance. Interesting. How gorgeous is this edition, though? It's beautiful. Next up, I grabbed A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Holly. I recently read Blood Orange by Karina Holly, which is a little bit different than that. Blood Orange is like a vampire, dark academia type of thing, but I do love her writing and I would love to get into it. And this is the Midnight Whispers edition, I believe. It does have the sprayed edges with the underwater scene with the skull and obviously the ship on the water on the front. It says, "You belong to me, body and soul, heart and spirit. Monster, siren, princess, pirate. He's the undertow and I'm powerless against his pull." The really cool artwork. I don't know much about this, but if Karina Holly writes it, I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna love it. And last but not least for my physical options was Air by Saba Tahir. This one kind of surprised me. This is the Fairy Loot edition, and if you look on the sprayed edges, there is definitely, let me get out of the way, there is definitely water right here at the bottom. It's like a little lake water scene, which surprised me. I wouldn't have thought that there would have been water on this. So I could choose this. Is this young adult? I don't really know. It says an orphan, an outcast, a prince, and a killer who will bring an entire empire to its knees. I think there is a romance subplot in this. I'm not really sure though. Now for my Kindle options, I could go with The Ballad of Sea and Sky by Madeline Elliott. I don't know why I'm so intrigued by this book, and I cannot for the life of me remember where I first found this book and how it ended up on my Kindle, but I bought it because it says Princess Marina, betrothed to a dull guard captain, becomes entangled with an enemy siren. Her fate leads to imprisonment by an enemy king and a spicy enemies to lovers tale of war and romance. It says it features sirens, selkies, and spicy romance. So surprisingly, when I was going through my Kindle, I found a ton of novellas, and this was one of them. It's called One Bed by Joss Wood. And it says that our main female character is trying to fight off a brutal case of writer's block. So she goes for a retreat to her grandmother's villa in Greece. But when she gets there, she finds out that a man is sharing the villa and there's only one bed. Wait a minute, this says here that this is 366 pages. I could have sworn that this was a little novella, but I guess it's not. I could also do Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. I have read quite a few Lana Ferguson books, and I wasn't super in love with The Nanny, but I did love The Fake Mate, which was her paranormal romance. And this one is a Loch Ness Monster romance, which that is calling to me right now. It says a woman discovers her family's supernatural secrets and finds an unlikely ally in a mysterious Scotsman amidst an ancient curse. She does really spicy writing too, so that's calling to me as well. Next up, I have Forbidden by Melissa Adams. Now, this is 336 pages, so it's a regularly sized book, and it says it's about a college-bound student returning to Star Cove, confronting feelings for twin stepbrothers Chase and Reed, plus their friends. It's a lot of feelings, while haunted by a mysterious party kiss. Contains mature, spicy content, and there's definitely some water behind this very naked torso man. I also found Treasure of the Abyss, The Kraken, Book 1 by Tiffany Roberts. I think you can kind of tell what this is going to be about on the title, but it says a woman afraid of the sea is rescued by Jax, a mysterious Kraken explorer. Despite being his captive, she finds herself drawn to him as he struggles with his desire for her. So this is 410 page monster romance. And I don't think up until this point I've read a Kraken romance. So that could be interesting. Okay, this next one is a little out of pocket, but it's calling to me. This is Stealing the Troll's Heart by Leon Riley. This cover is a lot, but for some reason I want to dive into it. And there is some obvious water in the background. It says a red-headed human woman tries to rob two trollkin. I don't even know what a trollkin is. Is that like, I'm assuming it's troll? Is it like people, person, trollkin? I don't know. And ends up finding love with Roz Jean, a troll who only has ever wanted money and casual lace. All right, listen, we're not going to judge the troll, okay? And we're also not going to judge me for having this on my Kindle and wanting to read it. Thank you so much. If I wanted to kind of switch gears, I could go with The Lost Colony by Irina Shapiro. I think this is more of like, not quite historical, but it harkens back to like the Lost Island of Roanoke. It says a reality show set in the 17th century turns deadly when contestants are stranded on a desert island, forcing them to confront their secrets and fight for survival. Oh, it's not Roanoke, it's Jamestown. Sorry, the island of Jamestown. Next up, I could go with Rushed by Aurora Rose Reynolds. It says heartbroken woman attends couples retreat alone, unexpectedly falling for rugged owner despite his no fraternization policy. This is only 223 pages, so I feel like I could read this in like one night if I was really sucked into it, which is kind of what my brain needs right now. I need like spicy, short, to the point, quick reads. So the next one is Stonehearts by S.E. Wendell. This is another monster romance novella. This is only 206 pages. It says it's a prequel story for a further series, so I don't know that I'm totally feeling that. But it says it's a friends to lovers historical fantasy monster romance novella that does include open door spice, and I think it's like injured heroine with grumpy, isolated male main character. I believe he's a gargoyle and she's fae. And last but not least, I could go with A Kiss of Salt and Sea by Bliss Devlin. Obviously has water on the cover. It says it's about a powerless human girl sold into magical academy, navigating dangerous rivalries, finding protection from supernatural love interests amidst a murder mystery. This is 384 pages and it's book 1 of 4 of the Darkstone Academy series. It says, I thought my life was over when my evil stepfather sold me into slavery. Then they sent me to work at Darkstone Academy, an isolated reform school for psycho young mages. And I think from what I understand, she catches the eye of a couple of those young mages. So in true Lindsay fashion, that was 17 options and I just need to pick one. So I'm going to go off camera. I am going to go through my list and I'm going to try to narrow it down to 3, possibly 4, and we will choose between those top 4. I just spent 15 minutes and I went through all my options and I have officially narrowed it down to my 4 top picks, and here they are. Deep End, Barbarian Mine, Under Lock and Key, and Stealing the Troll's Heart. And I genuinely don't know how I'm going to pick between all of these. So I guess the first one I'm going to eliminate, despite not really wanting to, because this is all really hard, is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I want to read this, but for some reason right now, I need to read like a spicy monster, alien, paranormal romance. And this is the only one that's like a college sports romance. It's not really fitting that. Barbarian Mine is spicy alien. Under Lock and Key is spicy Loch Ness monster. And obviously Stealing the Troll's Heart is spicy troll. My brain is telling me that I should pick Barbarian Mine because that's on my TBR this month. I think I'm going to eliminate Under Lock and Key because if I'm going to choose like kind of more like alien, like book type thing, I would probably go with Barbarian Mine. So right now I'm between Barbarian Mine and Stealing the Troll's Heart. And here's where I'm struggling. Barbarian Mine is an actual like 300-page book, but they read really quickly. However, Stealing the Troll's Heart is a little novella. How many pages did I say that was? Hold on. 144 pages. But Barbarian Mine is on my TBR. How many pages is this? Okay, so Barbarian Mine is over 300 pages, like 302 pages, something like that. So, what do I do? What do I do?
What?
All right, Dylan, trolls, come here. Okay. We're gonna have Dylan make this decision for us. You don't have to be on camera. Ready? You just have to tell me.
Okay.
Trolls or aliens?
What?
Trolls or aliens?
In what context?
There's no context. You have to pick trolls
What do I like better?
or aliens. I don't know, just pick trolls or aliens.
What do I like better? Alien.
Aliens. Okay, we are going to read Barbarian Mine by Ruby Dixon because Dylan said that he likes aliens better.
Barbarian.
What's your problem with trolls?
No, I like trolls.
Huh?
I like trolls. That's
You
cool.
like trolls, you just like aliens more?
Holland likes trolls.
Well, you went with aliens.
He's from Norway.
That's, yes, they are. Trolls are like from Frozen, the ones that roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you picked aliens.
Okay. I don't know.
Aliens. We are reading
context.
Barbarian Mine by Ruby Dixon. So I'm glad that we ended up asking Google if ice and snow count for water on the cover because that really helped us out. Another video, another horrible car angle, but we are currently at soccer and it is 95 degrees out today. So I'm sitting in my car in the air conditioning and I'm reading Ice Planet Barbarian. Why do I keep saying that? Barbarian Mine. I just want to call all of them Ice Planet Barbarians. Ice Planet Barbarians 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm reading Barbarian Mine on my Kindle. And explain to me how this is yet another Ruby Dixon book that I have sat here in one day and gotten through 66% of. I can't explain to you, like, these books read so quickly. And it's because it's just simple, good entertainment writing. Like I was talking to someone earlier on Instagram and I would explain this as like the reality TV show of books, right? Like you could sit and put on a reality TV show and watch like 3 seasons in one day if you wanted to. It's brainless, it's entertaining. There's nothing you have to think too hard about. It's just easy. And I can sit here and read and read and read and read. And I don't get like the eye fatigue or the brain fatigue. It's just simple and I eat it up and I love it. And if you are going to pick up any of the Ice Planet Barbarian series, do not come at me with, oh wow, this writing is bad. Oh wow, this dialogue is cringy. Oh wow, this storyline is ridiculous. Obviously, okay? It's not meant to be Shakespeare. It's not meant to be deep and make you wonder about the existentialism of life. Like it's not like that. It's just smutty alien nonsense, but it is so fun. So Barbarian Mind in particular follows our main female character Harlow and our main male character Rook. And I'm not going to get too far into the story because like each one of them's a little unique and I don't want to give anything away since it's not like super heavy on plot, if you know what I'm saying. But the gist of Ice Planet Barbarians in general is that there are a bunch of human women that are taken and sold in auctions, and their spaceship crashes and they are abandoned on this ice planet and meet males from the ice planet and get with them. There's a mom currently walking directly at me. And she sees me talking to my phone. So like, let's just hope she thinks I'm on FaceTime and not crazy. So, luckily I know all these moms, so like whatever, they know I'm crazy, so I guess that's pointless. But basically they are abandoned on this planet by these aliens that are kidnapping them to be sold in an auction, and they meet the Ice Planet Barbarians tribe and are cavorting with them. Is that how you describe it? Like, I don't know what YouTube allows. They are getting it on, I guess. And so I would highly suggest that you do not read this book series if you're not like a monster smut or an alien smut or a smut lover in general. I am. I eat it up. It is so entertaining. I'm going to continue reading, but I really honestly see myself finishing this book in one day because that's what I've done with most of the other Barbarians books. So I don't think this one will be any different, and I'm really liking this storyline. They're all just slightly different, like how the human and alien tribesmen like interact is slightly different, and each character has a different backstory, and how they get together is kind of different and stuff like that. So I'm not going to give too much of it away because I think that's part of the fun of reading these books, but I'm really liking this one. So continuing on. I don't know if you can tell, but I am quite literally exhausted. I have been running since 7 o'clock this morning. It was actually kind of a late morning for me. I'm usually up at 6:30. I've been running since 7 o'clock this morning, and it is now 11:53 at night, and I am toast for the day. I haven't even jumped in the shower. I've been at the soccer and the baseball field all day, or all night I should say, and I am like nothing left to give, if I'm being totally honest. But I did finish Barbarian Mind. I'm too lazy to go grab the book, but I did finish this. I'm not going to talk too much about this because my thoughts from my last update kind of stayed the same. Once again, just a really good, really fun, entertaining, good time. It's a really good palate cleanser. Like if you've read books that you have to think of a little bit more or like think about a little bit more, this is a good one to throw in and just like numb your brain out and just read it for the enjoyment, if that makes sense. I ended up liking this one and giving it a 4 stars. I liked it more than the last one. I think I gave like a 3.25 or something. That might have been the second one, and this is the fourth one. I don't know. I gave one of them a 3.25 because I just didn't connect to the characters as much. I liked our characters better in this one, so take that for what it is. I am now going to grab my iPad and do our spin so that we know what we're reading tomorrow, because something in my brain needs to know what I'm reading tomorrow, if that makes sense. Like I need to go to bed knowing what I'm waking up reading in the morning. And night times are a lot more quiet around my house than mornings. Both my husband and my brother-in-law do work nights. So this is like my quiet time when the kids are asleep and both of my roomies are at work. So I'm going to go grab my iPad. We're going to do a spin. We're going to see what Harry Potter prompt we get that will determine what we read tomorrow. Okay, iPad obtained. And I don't know, I can't guarantee that I'm going to have the energy to pick out the actual book tonight. The more and more I stand here, the quicker I'm fading. You know what I'm saying? However, I do think that I'll be able to do our prompt and figure out what we're reading. I am fading so fast right now, if you can't tell. Like my brain is not moving quick. So let's spin really fast and let's see if we can actually get a good prompt that I like. Because there are so many characters and items and places that I'm in love with, and we always get the bad ones. So without further ado, let's spin and see what we're gonna get. There are so many good prompts on this wheel of characters and places and items that I love, and we quite literally never get them. We always get the bad ones. Prove me wrong. What is it? Gregory Goyle. Got it. Okay. Maybe it's great, but I don't think so. Gregory Goyle. How good could this be? Okay, here's our prompt. Slytherin student and the third member of Draco Malfoy's friend group, also including Vincent Crabbe. Fun fact, in the book, Goyle's best friend Crabbe dies in the battle for Hogwarts, while Goyle survives the war and goes on to marry Millicent and have 2 children who attend Hogwarts in 2015. However, in the movies, the actor who played Crabbe had some legal troubles and wasn't available for filming, so they changed the story to make Goyle die in the battle and Crabbe survive. Read a book to movie adaptation. I actually remember writing that prompt. Funny enough, I didn't remember that it was for Gregory Goyle, but I remember that because that's one of my like favorite little, movie adaptation tidbits. Okay, a book to movie adaptation, or like a book to show adaptation. Okay, let me see what I can find. I think I could do this one pretty quick. I lied to you. I ended up not even having like the mental bandwidth to go through my shelves in my Kindle and pick a book last night. I was sitting on the floor in front of my shelves, like looking through books at one point, and all of a sudden, I don't even know how much time went by, but I was literally just sitting there staring at my shelves, and I was like, I don't even remember what the prompt was for the books that I'm picking. I was just staring into the abyss of my bookshelves, and then I was like, let's not. Let's go to bed. Let's get a good night's sleep. And we'll come back in the morning and figure this out. At least we know what we have to pick tomorrow morning. And that was a great decision because I went to bed, I got a good night's sleep, and now I'm back and I was much more successful picking books this morning. I have 3 physical books from my shelves, and then I have a couple on my Kindle. Admittedly, I'm not really interested in some of these. I already did like pare down my list. There were a couple of thrillers that I could have chosen for a book to movie / book to TV show adaptation, but I was being real with myself and I was like, I'm not going to bother because I'm not interested, but I do want to throw a couple like options up here in case any of you are as well. And I'm going to give the preface to this that some of these, I don't know if this is cheating, but some of these are upcoming movie or TV shows that are like currently in production or casting or being made. And to me, that counts. Some of them are already pre-existing, like you could read the book and go watch whatever it is right now, but some of these are coming in the next year or so. So I'm gonna let myself have that one. Hope you don't think it's cheating. So the first thing I did in my process was I looked at my current June TBR because I do try to knock the books that are on my TBR off of the list first. So I do have 2 on my current TBR that I could choose. And the first one is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is a Netflix special. And actually it was funny because when I chose this, I was like, oh, I like to read the books and then go and watch the movie or the TV show. And you guys all told me don't do that because apparently this is a Shadow and Bone trilogy, or I should say the Netflix show is a Shadow and Bone trilogy and Six of Crows Crooked Kingdom like mashup. So everyone has told me not to watch the show until you have completed the trilogy and Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. So if any of you were thinking about reading this book and jumping right into the Shadow and Bone Netflix show, from what I hear, don't do it. The second one on my June TBR that I could go for is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Obviously, I've read this. I love it. It's my favorite book series of all time, and they're also my favorite movies of all time. This is my comfort book. That is my comfort movie. But there's a reason why I'm kind of leaning towards this just a little bit. If I end up choosing at the end, I'll tell you why, but this is a strong contender. The third book on my shelves that I could go for is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. There are a couple of Emily Henry books that are currently in production for movies / like TV series or like streaming series. I don't think we have an actual date because I think they're currently in casting. I have read all of them except for People We Meet on Vacation. So I don't know a ton about this. It says 2 best friends, 10 summer trips, 1 last chance to fall in love. Now, I'm so conflicted on this one because some people say this is their favorite Emily Henry, but I think the majority of people say that this isn't her strongest work. And I have loved pretty much everything I've read by her. So I do want to see what my opinion is on this one. And now for my Kindle options. So the first one I found kind of on my Kindle that like jumped out to me is My Fault by Mercedes Ron. I believe this is it an HBO show? I know it's Mea Culpa, I believe. It's like Spanish dubbed. I'm almost positive. If I'm making that up, I apologize, but I have seen it. And I actually tried to watch it one night, not realizing it was a book. I just happened to turn it on and it was like a show I was trying to watch while I was falling asleep and did not realize that it was dubbed and like subtitled into English. And I was like, well, I can't read subtitles. I'm trying to go to bed. So I turned it off. But this says it's a forbidden romance between a girl and her stepbrother, filled with angst, danger, and electric attraction. There are also a couple of Elin Hildebrand's books that are being made. I'm not going to talk about each one individually, but The 5-Star Weekend, The Perfect Couple, which is already currently on Netflix. So The 5-Star Weekend is being made. You could currently go and watch The Perfect Couple on Netflix right now. And I believe 28 Summers is also getting a TV series adaptation. Elin Hildebrand and all three of these books are like really great summer reads. Like I've read, I forget which one I did read, but I've read 1 or 2 of her books. I really, really liked them, and they are really good poolside, beachside reads. I could also go for The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. It says Lauren discovers her attic mysteriously produces an endless supply of different husbands for her, leading to a comical and thought-provoking exploration of what makes the perfect match. I don't believe we have a release date for this yet, but it is being made into an Apple TV drama series. And they do currently have a actress named Juno Temple cast as the main female character, Lauren. So it sounds like they're at least making their way through casting. I could also go for Margot's Got Money Trouble. The Husbands and this one are more of like a literary fiction angle if I wanted to go there. It says a young woman navigates adulthood, new motherhood, and financial struggles in an online world, turning to an unlikely source for advice and finding success and empowerment along the way. So this says that it's being adapted into an 8-part series for Apple TV as well, and that Elle Fanning has been cast as the main female character alongside Nicole Kidman, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Nick Offerman. So they have quite the cast. I don't see a release date yet, so I'm not sure about that. Also, I could do We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This says it's about a wealthy family's dark secrets unraveling on a private island, exposing lies, love, and a brilliant yet damaged girl's truth. This actually is set to premiere on June 18th of this year, so literally like a couple days from now. And it's being released on Amazon Prime, I believe. And last but not least, I could also do My Oxford Year by Julia Whelan. I love when Julia Whelan narrates audiobooks, but I've never actually read one of her books that she's authored. So this one caught my attention. It says an American Rhodes Scholar falls for her charming Oxford literature teacher. As their relationship deepens, she must choose between her political dreams and supporting him through an unexpected crisis. This one is set to premiere on August 1st. So once again, not that far away on Netflix. So like I said, I'm not really obsessed with the idea of all of these, but I thought that this was good to give you guys some options because I don't know what you've read, what you haven't read, what you're into right now. I'm going to be completely honest with you. My brain is not in literary fiction space right now, so I'm not going to do The Husbands or Margot's Got Money Troubles, but usually I would have jumped on those. I just have to be very specific with the books that I'm choosing right now, or else I can feel myself not being motivated to pick a book up. So I am going to put the top 4 options here on the screen and we'll choose from them. Okay, so here is how I narrowed it down to the 4. We have Harry Potter, People We Meet on Vacation, My Fault, and We Were Liars. These are the 4 that are striking me like it's something I'm interested in enough. And now is where it gets hard. Okay, the first one I think I'm gonna have to knock off is We Were Liars. I'm just not in the mood for like the mystery element right now. Like I've said several times, I have spicy brain right now. So I kind of want something more on the spice end. But at the same time, okay, so if I was listening entirely to Spicy Brain, I would go with My Fault because I know that's like a spicy stepbrother, taboo, forbidden romance type thing. I know that Emily Henry does include some spice, but it's usually not the central theme, and obviously Harry Potter doesn't have any. Okay, I'm going to contradict myself here because I am going to remove People We Met on Vacation next. It's the one that's calling to me the least of these options, which is surprising because I love Emily Henry. Okay, so now we have the 2 most different books of all time. And I think this makes no sense. Hear me out, hear me out. I think I'm gonna go with Harry Potter. Okay, and there's reasons. First of all, it's on my June TBR and I wanna try to prioritize that. It is obviously not spicy. It's a middle grade book, but the only way that I have not physically consumed Harry Potter at this point is through audio. I've read the books several times, I've watched the movies thousands of times, and I recently was able to grab the Jim Dale narrated Academy Award winning audiobook, which is the only way that I've never consumed Harry Potter, and I think it might become my entire personality. And I have a ridiculously busy day today, and some of it is even on the road. So having an audiobook would be very convenient because I could do other things and multitask with it in my ears. So for our book to movie / TV series adaptation, I am going to go with Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone if you're across the pond. It is the next morning, and sorry if you hear the TV in the background. Coley is sitting right next to me here on the couch. He just woke up, but he's watching a little TV. I'm not going to disturb him because it is the start to our weekend. Here he comes in his hoodie in all of his glory. I sat down yesterday and good morning, young sir. I sat down yesterday and I put on the Jim Dale narrated audiobook for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and I listened to it from start to finish in one go. I read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone yesterday from start to finish. So it was amazing. It was fantastic. Harry Potter will never not be a five-star read for me. It was amazing. If you haven't read Harry Potter, like, what are you doing at this point? You know, like, there's no helping you. There's no helping you. But we have kind of a busy day today because the cousins are here and we're just kind of hanging out. So would you like to help me do my next spin? You do? You want to do the Harry Potter wheel? Okay. So come on over in front of me so we have room on the screen for the spinner. You look like a Dementor, so it's oddly appropriate. Okay. Let me pull up our spin wheel. So whenever you're ready, hit spin. Is it spinning? Oh my gosh. Watch, it's going to be the best prompt ever for Cole. What's it? Is that Justin Finch Flunchley? I think it is. Justin Finch Flunchley, I'm pretty sure, right? Is that who that is? I think it is. Justin. All right, let's double check. We have to go to my prompt. Oh, I was right. It is. Okay, so on the count of 3, we are going to put it up right here. Coley, do you want to read the prompt or do you want me to? You. Me? You're not quite human yet. Okay, Justin Finch Fletchley, Muggle-born Hufflepuff student and a member of Dumbledore's army, read a book featuring a non-magical or powerless character in a magical world. Okay, so we have to find a book set in a magical world, and our character has no powers.
What about my book I have?
What book?
The Impossible Creatures book.
Impossible Creatures. That's in a magical world. Does he have powers of any sort? Not yet that you've seen, right?
No, he doesn't have any.
Ooh, okay. I have that one on my Kindle. The author actually sent it to me. Okay, we'll think about that. Will be one of our options. We have to pull a couple of options. That will be one. Coley is currently reading Impossible Creatures. We bought this book on a date night to Barnes & Noble, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we go on a date night? So Coley and I went on a date night, him and I, to Barnes & Noble, and that's one of the books he picked. However, I believe the author actually sent me the ARC to my Kindle as well. Something like that, yeah. So she actually sent me the ARC, so it is on my Kindle, and he is telling me that that is set in a magical world, but that the main character has no powers. So that might have to be one of our options.
Well,
he's chewing his sandwich.
he has no powers, but the pet he has powers.
But as long as the character doesn't have powers. It's okay if his pet has powers, because it's in a magical world.
He is a pet griffin.
That's cool. Okay, so that's one of our options. We have one right off the bat, Impossible Creatures. We have to go and pick through and try to find some other options, and we'll be right back. We moved downstairs because my niece and nephew are here now, so I'm gonna get this done really, really quickly. So I did find a couple of options, but character-based prompts are hard because you're basically, without having already read the book, you're just kind of going on what the back of the book tells you. Does that make sense? Like, if you haven't already read the book, finding a super specific character-based prompt, it's like, I don't know, I haven't read the book. So you don't know a ton about the character before you've read it. So I'm basically just going on what the back of the books are telling me. So if it turns out that we read this and, you know, the plot point develops that it doesn't perfectly fit the prompt, I couldn't do anything about that. The point is, as per the back of the book, it sounds like we're dealing with a non-magical character in a magical world. So let's talk about what I found. So the first book is the one that Coley picked out, and it's Impossible Creatures by Catherine Rundell. This is book 1 of 2 in the Impossible Creatures series. He is currently reading this, and he says it's excellent, so I do actually want to read it. It says it's about 2 kids racing to save the world's last magical place. The day that Christopher saved a drowning baby griffin from a hidden lake would change his life forever. It's the day he learned about the archipelago, a cluster of unmapped islands where magical creatures of every kind have thrived for thousands of years until now. And it's the day he met Mal, a girl on the run in desperate need of his help. Mal and Christopher embark on wild adventure, racing from island to island, searching for someone who could explain why the magic is fading and why magical creatures are suddenly dying. So it's about two human kids in a magical world. So this would definitely fit. Here's the thing about this one. Am I necessarily, is Spicy Brain in the mood for a middle grade? Not really. However, I did put a hold in on Libby because if I can get the audiobook from my library, that I think is something I could do. I could definitely listen to this book probably in like one day and it would entertain me. Am I in the mood to sit down and read physically a middle grade right now? Not really. So we will see. So a book that was on my shelves that I actually think would probably admittedly fit this prompt the best based on what I know about it from the first book is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. So this is book 2 after Powerless, which I obviously read. And this book is quite literally about a girl named Peyton who lives in a world where people without magical powers are called ordinary and they are done away with by the kingdom. And Peyton is an ordinary, but she's hiding it by pretending to be a psychic. So everyone in this world is supposed to have magical powers, but our main female character doesn't. I liked Powerless. It was decent. I read Powerful, which was the little novella, and actually preferred it to Powerless. I have heard not quite stellar things about Reckless, so a little hesitant, but do definitely want to carry on in the series, so this might be the excuse to do so. Also not entirely sure if this one actually fits the prompt. This was kind of like one where I couldn't tell based on the back of the book if this would be cheating, but I did grab Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is book 2 after Phantasma, which we read with the Homey and Homely book club, and I did really enjoy. I don't know exactly what this one is going to be about, but I know in Phantasma, it was about a human girl who possessed no powers entering this deadly competition, labyrinth kind of situation based on the 7 levels of hell. So every level was a different illusion or magic or things that she needed to survive. So I think this might be stretching it a bit, but the point is our main female character did not possess any powers, but was in a magical deadly games labyrinth. And I think this one follows kind of the same setup. So she doesn't have powers. And in my opinion, a Deadly Games labyrinth where you hallucinate and teleport and have to accomplish different things, that's a magical world. So I say it counts. And last but not least, I found Faded Hearts by Lucia Sky. Now, stick with me because when I read the first part of this description, I was like, oh, this isn't going to count. But the second part changed things and I think it actually works. So I actually got this recommendation from Jamie from That Girl Reads because she actually put an interconnected series by this same author on hers, and I want to read this one first, and I heard it's super spicy and very good. So it says, Ava, waking up in the hospital with a harrowing diagnosis is a hard pill to swallow, but it also opens my eyes to the truth. Law school was never my dream, it was my mother's. I've been living like a bird locked in a cage and the bars are closing in on me, crushing me under their weight. I'm done letting others dictate my life. The thing is, trying to cram a lifetime of experiences in a few months can lead you on a treacherous path. I let myself live, but at what cost? Looking back, it was all worth it because it led me to him. So here's where it got interesting because that first part, like I couldn't tell whether or not she was going to end up having powers, but listen to this. The male's point of view, Logan, says, reality is overrated, especially when my fated mate's wolf appears in my dreams and shouldering my alpha responsibility becomes harder by the day. So right there, I was like, oh, wait, she's a wolf that shows up in his dreams. So this must be Omegaverse. Listen. I think it's just him dreaming because then it says, and you know what they say about fate. It's not only fickle, it also loves irony. My life takes an unexpected turns when my eyes land on her, a human. She pollutes my mind, my dreams, my whole being. I know I should stay away from Ava. My pack would never accept a human. The question is, will I be able to resist temptation? So it sounds like he is a werewolf in a pack and she is a human, which means she does not have powers. So I say this counts, but comment below if you think I'm a big cheater. Okay, so my 4 options. Here's the thing. I feel obligated to choose Impossible Creatures because I want to read it alongside Cole. But like I said, I have a Libby hold on this one because I want to listen to it on audio and I'm not like that far in line. So I think it might actually come through. So We are going to choose Impossible Creatures, but only when my Libby hold comes out. So that one we're going to put like a little check mark on, but it's going to be read definitely, and it would fit this prompt, but it's going to be read at a later date, possibly in the next couple of days when my Libby hold comes in. So that one can be a pick, but we're going to pick a second one out of our options for me to physically read. So process of elimination here. I think as much as I want to read it, I'm going to eliminate Enchantra, because I don't really think this one fits the prompt very well. I mean, it kind of does, but I think this one is the most stretchy of them. So let's not go there. So we're between Fated Hearts and Reckless. Admittedly, Reckless probably fits the prompt the best in that it's literally the entire point of the story that our female character does not have powers in a magical world. But I really don't want to read this right now. So I think we're going to go Fated Hearts just because this is where my brain is at right now. Like I've been saying this entire video, my brain is calling for like super spicy reads, and I've heard that this is, and I don't want to put myself into a slump. I want to read what my brain is calling for at the moment. So I just am afraid this will put me in a slump right now. So we're going with Fated Hearts for our Justin Finch Fletchley prompt. I'm currently at soccer tryouts, so I'm reading right now at the park, and we have some serious humidity here going on, but we're going to deal with it. Okay, and I'm also desperately trying to keep my expressions and my hand motions unanimated because there are other moms all around me. And even though I know these moms and we've played together for years, and I'm pretty sure some of them even know that I have a channel, it's still awkward. So I'm going to try to not make a scene that I'm talking to myself in my car when they're literally like right there. They're right there. So I'm going to try to just like be chill, which doesn't come easily to me, but I figured I'd stop in because I am currently on chapter 26. It is page 186. My Kindle says I'm 86. No, words, numbers. We can do this. 62% of the way through the book. So chapter 26, page 186, 62% of the way through the book. And according to my Kindle, I only have like an hour and 49 minutes left to read. However, I don't do a great job of like keeping the reading time, like making it easy for the Kindle, because it tracks how quickly you turn the pages, and that's what it uses to like estimate how long you have in the book. And I'm really bad about like reading, and my kids will call me or I'll need to go and get a drink or something, and I'll just put my Kindle down and walk away for like 2 minutes, and then I'll come back. And if you do that like often enough, it obviously throws off your reading speed. And I like want to go and like write a post on Instagram or like update my Goodreads or something, and then I forget and I get distracted and I doom scroll for a couple of minutes. So that's probably not that accurate. I think I'll probably finish this quicker than an hour and 49 minutes. So I figured I would give you my final thoughts, because I'm going to try to finish this tonight. Or not my final thoughts, but my initial thoughts. It's so funny how when you're around other people, your brain turns to mush, because I'm just so hyper aware of everyone around me that I feel like I'm like disjointed right now. My thoughts are disjointed. But okay, so this book is about our main female character, Ava, and not a spoiler, the beginning of the book opens, like chapter 1 opens with her dying and literally having a heart attack at 21 and needing a heart transplant. And then our main male character, Logan, who's like completely unaware that she even exists, is a wolf shifter. He's an alpha for his pack, and he has this like recurring dream that he meets his fated mate. And there is a thing going on in his town and within his pack that if he doesn't meet his fated mate and marry her and like consummate the mating bond, there's a weakness that's going around for the younger members of his pack, because his pack is losing strength because he isn't taking a wife. So he keeps seeing this wolf in his mind and in his dreams that he knows is his fated mate, but he can't find her in real life. And it's a very interesting dynamic where like Ava is this like, you know, in need of this heart and is kind of lost. She's always kind of been weak to her mother and listened to her mother and is bossed around by her mother and doesn't really live her own life. And then she finds out after this heart attack that she has like potentially a couple of months to live if she doesn't get this transplant, and she decides she's going to go live her life for herself. And long story short, you know how it's going to go. She's going to meet Logan and things are going to progress. So far, it is very spicy. It's very good, but in like the same way I feel about Ice Planet Barbarians. Like, it's not like a written masterpiece. Like, it's kind of written kind of Wattpad-y, very dramatic, very simple writing. Sometimes they use some like new age like slang or terms that are a little cringy and things like that. Like, it's not great, mind-blowing, beautiful lyrical writing, but it is entertaining. Like, I flew through 62% of the book in 24 hours. Like, you can eat it up. You don't have to use too much brain power, and I am liking it. And there's actually, this is a prequel to the Echoes of Darkness series. So there's a whole book after this that I've also heard is really good. I already can tell you I'm going to be continuing. I just like the writing, and it's very like entertaining and smutty and spicy and seamless, and it's Omegaverse. So like, if you're kind of entrenched in the Omegaverse world, you know what I'm talking about. This is your very typical smutty, spicy Omegaverse kind of writing. Like, it's not supposed to be taken very seriously. It's just very wolfy and smutty. So I am liking it. I'm going to try to finish this tonight, and then maybe we could possibly do another spin in the morning. So I'm going to continue with practice, and hopefully no one saw me talking to my phone, but I'm pretty sure they all did. So I'm just going to stop talking to my camera now and try to look sane. Don't mind me. It is currently 10:20 at night. I am in my pajamas. We had a 2-hour long baseball practice, 30 minutes away one way, an hour round trip, and I am like, I've got nothing left to give today, guys. Honestly, I'm so tired, like so tired. And I'm like fighting the urge to like have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, because I'm hoping that after this I can get in bed and actually like sleep. And this is gonna like blow your mind, but tomorrow I could sleep in if I wanted to. That literally never happens. So the boys are both officially out of school and we have no early morning practices. So I say that I could sleep in, but I won't, because my body just doesn't let me. It wakes me up. But that's not what we're here to discuss, besides the fact that I'm in my pajamas and I am clearly operating at 50% capacity right now. But I did just finish the last 15 pages of Fated Hearts. I'm giving this a 3.75. Like, there were things that I really liked about it, and then there were things that I really didn't like about it. I mean, this was purely a smutty Omegaverse book, which I liked. That's like one of the positives for me. However, the writing is what kind of got a little dicey for me at points. It's written very, and this isn't like a slam, because I actually like this. It's written very Omegaverse Wattpad-y, if that makes sense. Like, the writing's not mind-blowing. There's a lot of repetitive nicknames and repetitive phrases. And also, this is written in a dual POV. So like, some chapters are from our female main character Ava's point of view, and some chapters are from our male main character's Logan's point of view. But the problem is there's like interlapping scenes. And although you're getting it from their different perspectives, it's the same thing happening. So like, if there's an interaction with a character in a room, Ava will talk about it. And then the next chapter is the same interaction, but just what Logan thought. So there was a lot of like repetitive conversations and scenes and things like that. And what ends up happening with that for me is that I don't feel like this book needed to be like 300 pages. Like, I feel like we could have cleaned up and edited up some of that repetitiveness, and it could have been shorter and more concise and not quite as repetitive, because there were times where I fought the urge to skim because we'd already seen this, and like the scenes weren't that deep that we needed another perspective, you know, and like their perspectives weren't that different where it was like adding a new element to the story. It just kind of was the same thing, just from like the guy's point of view or the girl's point of view. So it was a little repetitive. There was some cringy banter. Also, the sweat scenes got kind of repetitive. And furthermore, this, when I say this was written kind of Wattpad style, I mean it not even necessarily as a criticism, but if you've read anything on Wattpad, you know that they really lean into the drama. Like, they really lean into like the over-the-top theatrics, and like they almost sometimes, to add to the drama, like just throw too many things into one book. And this fell kind of victim to that for me. Like, there was just too much being done that it kind of took away from like the better parts of the plot. However, 3.75 is still a good score, or still a good rating, I should say, and I'm still going to continue on. It has the longest ever title to the next book. I'm going to put it right here. There's no way I'm getting that right, especially not right now where I'm 25% asleep. But this is the sequel, or I guess the next book in the series. I am going to read this because I'm intrigued by it, and I'm intrigued by the story, and I like some of the characters. So overall, it was good. And at the end of the day, I do think it fit our prompt because she was a human originally and did not have powers in a magical world. So it definitely did fit the prompt. Just don't pay attention to the fact that I'm in my pajamas and my hair is crazy, because it has been so humid in Connecticut the past couple of days, and when it's humid, my hair just goes whoosh, like it grows out. So I am going, despite being exhausted, I think we should do our next spin because I want to wake up in the morning and know exactly what I'm going to be reading. So let's go ahead and pull up our wheel. Here we go. Hopefully when we spin, we actually get a good prompt this time. So spinning, can we please get like a pleasant character, or like Diagon Alley, or like Hedwig, or something that I love? Okay, I mean, it's the Weasley family clock. I don't dislike this object. It's just a very minor part of the story. I mean, it is and it isn't. Comment below if you remember the scenes with the Weasley family clock. I like it. It's Weasley family related, which is never a bad thing, but let me go grab my phone because I have no idea what this could possibly be. I'm assuming something to do with like time, but let's not speculate. Let's go find out. Okay, we have to go all the way down to the W's. Weasley family clock. We are at N. We are at T. We are at V. All right. Oh gosh, this is a long one too. I might have to take 2 screenshots of this one. Okay, here is the Weasley family clock prompt. Let's read it. The Weasley family's clock hanging on the wall of the burrow that features every family member's face mounted on a spoon, which moves around the clock as their location changes. During the battle for Hogwarts, all of the spoons pointed at mortal peril, and after Fred is killed, his spoon stayed forevermore on Lost. Have a family member spin the family wheel or pick a book. Oh my gosh, that's going to be a bit difficult. Both of my boys are upstairs kind of lounging because it's 10:20 and my husband isn't back from work yet. My aunts are all sleeping. My dad is all sleeping. What do I do? Let me go see if one of my boys is in for this. If not, you might have a jump scene to tomorrow morning. Look who I was able to pull away from the soccer game upstairs to come and pick a book. So this is the biggest reader.
I watched 4 games today.
You did. This is the biggest reader in the house. He reads so many books.
I think I read a newspaper once.
One time you did?
Yeah.
I don't even believe that. Dylan doesn't really read much, but I'm going to make it easy on him because if I were to set him loose on all 700 of my books, hold on, listen, actually that's not a bad choice. 700 of my books, it would take him hours upon hours. So I am going to tell him just like one sentence about the books on my TBR and he can pick that way. He's so sophisticated. And he can pick that way. Okay, are you ready?
Well, I do suppose so, yes.
You do? Muffy. Okay. these are the books, the physical books, and then there's some on my Kindle, but we're going to go through these first. So, Shadow and Bone, young adult, fantasy about a soldier, summoner, saint.
No.
Okay? This is a young adult gothic story. She's like a funeral home director. She does like autopsies, and he's like a resurrection man, something like that. Yes, no, or maybe. No. Okay.
No.
This is actually translated from Swedish. Listen. Translated from Swedish. It's about a town that goes through a tragedy and their hockey team is going to win like the national championships. So it's like a hockey sad book. I've heard it can make you cry. Okay, this is book 3 in the Zodiac Academy series.
This one. We should do this one.
That would have been, listen. This
it looks like the Club World Cup logo.
Okay.
The trophy, I meant.
So this is book 3 in the Zodiac Academy series. 2 girls learn that they are heirs to the throne of a magical world, and they go to the Zodiac Academy before they take power. So that's a maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. This I know literally nothing about. This is another fantasy book, and it says, prophecy reignited, a storm unleashed, a love that could shatter everything. This is like a romance fantasy.
No.
Okay. Oh, this is about witches and a magical academy. Okay. And this is also about witches. There's a guy that comes to kill the witches.
No.
Okay. No. And then there's a couple of books on my TBR.
What's that mean?
To be read pile. So then there's 3 other books. Are you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. There's a book called Princess in the Pack. It's like a werewolf book. Fantasy book, I guess. Running from the Prince is a Regency book, so it's about like London times with like royalty and princes.
Okay.
And then there's a book called Silver Elite, which is actually a fantasy book about a military academy. They have to train at this military academy for war, I think. And I think she's like lying about her identity or something. So these 2 were maybes. Did any of those sound like
that one?
Which one? Zodiac Academy?
Yeah.
All right, high five. Nicely done. Dylan has selected Zodiac Academy 3, The Reckoning. This is a very, very long book, but I'm really excited for it. So we will be starting this tomorrow morning because I'm exhausted. So.
Can I show them my scooter?
Why?
I don't know. Look, guys, this is my scooter.
It's a scooter.
Yeah, see?
He scoots.
To turn the lights on. All right, bye, guys.
I prefer we didn't ride it in the basement, but do you, boo? Good night. I'm going to bed. Horrible angle. It is what it is, but I just wanted to give you guys kind of like a check-in. So it is the next day, and between like yesterday afternoon, last night, this morning, this afternoon, I have read to chapter 17, and that's page is that 355. And this is what I'm going to say about this series. The writing, it's not like fantastic. It's not great. It's not going to win any like literary awards. Let me grab my, I don't even know where my bookmark is. Okay. Anyways, it's not gonna win any like literary awards and like blow your mind, but it's so fast, so quick, and there are so many characters in this world, but the Twisted Sisters find a way to make it not confusing. Like, I never find myself wondering like, who's this person, who's that person, or having to like brush up on the characters. Is there a character list? This book is a series that would probably do well with a character list. There is not, but like, look at how huge this series is. This whole page and then that, massive. But tons of characters, but you don't manage to get confused. The only thing, now that I'm on book 3, the only thing that I sometimes get confused about is the orders with the character. So every once in a while, when they mention like each of the 4 heirs, I forget which boy goes with which order, but it's pretty quickly explained because the writing is slightly repetitive, and that's not a criticism. You almost need the slight repetition to like refresh your memory about what person goes with which power, with which order, with which house, because this world is massive and the character list is huge. You're also dealing with like a dual world situation, because in the one map right here, which is really cool, this really cool map, this is the map of the world, like the different towns, the different countries, the different desert areas, the different zones. And then the second map right here is the actual academy setting. So the first map in the world is Solaria, and inside Solaria is Zodiac Academy, where the kids are attending. So like on a micro level, you're attending Zodiac Academy, but on a macro level, Zodiac Academy sits within Solaria. So you kind of have like a dual world where when the kids are venturing, or when the people are venturing outside of Zodiac Academy, you need to understand where the manors are, what towns they're in, where the world is. So it's this like very immersive reading experience with dozens of characters and 2 different worlds with different conflicts going on in each of them. But the Twisted Sisters write in such a simple, easy way that you never find yourself getting confused. And I love that. And that is what allows me to sit down and 2.5 hours fly by. And I've just sat and rotted in one spot and flown through 250 pages of this book. It is really easy to read and I'm really liking it. And this book is long. I mean, this is 700 pages. Yeah, 700 pages. And I may be able to finish this in 2 days. That's crazy. And I don't know many other books that I would be able to sit and do that. However, this is getting kind of heavy because this is chunky. I don't know if you noticed, but in the last clip I had it kind of like resting on my legs because holding this was starting to make my hands hurt. I do have it. I don't know if Zodiac Academy is Kindle Unlimited. I'll put like a little note right here. But I bought them a while ago, so I do have them on my Kindle Scribe. So I think I might take out my Scribe, read a little bit more on that. And I may also, I'm just thinking of my schedule this afternoon. And I do have, of course, baseball. I have to go to Target. I have some errands I have to run. So I may redeem an Everand credit for the audiobook so that I can have it playing in my ears while I'm kind of running my errands and doing my things, because that will help me fly through this book really quick. So I think I'm going to pick up my Kindle now. I'm going to throw it in my ears after I redeem my credit for the rest of the afternoon, and I will touch base later on tonight about the progress that I made. Change of plans. You know how I said I was going to try to finish Zodiac Academy tomorrow? No need, because I finished it today. I read a 700-page book in like 36 hours. And I wouldn't change everything. I regret nothing. Honestly, I have found, since I've gotten into audiobooks, that it exponentially increases my productivity when it comes to reading, because whenever I have to do things that require me to actually physically put the book down, I can put my headphones in and continue to read. So I pretty much read for like 24 hours straight. If I wasn't sleeping in the last day and a half, I was reading or listening to Zodiac Academy, The Reckoning. And I am giving this a 4-star, which is still a great rating, and I love it. And I'm so invested in this series. However, I gave the first and the second one 4.25 stars. So this was just like a smidge under the first one and the second one for me. And I don't exactly know what it was about it. Maybe I just felt like because it was like much longer than the first and the second one, that some of the length, the extra length of this novel was just filled with kind of like details that we didn't really need to know, while the first two read so fast and like so quick paced, and so like you needed to know everything you were getting. This one had a little bit more what I like call fluff in it, like fluff that's just like world building fluff or character building fluff, but wasn't necessarily contributing to the main plot as a whole. So there were like details and scenes and conversations that you got that maybe it will come up like further in the series, but at least right now it kind of is like, why did that happen? Or like, why did that? And they never came back to it, at least up until this point. So 4 stars is still an excellent rating. I am so hooked on this series. And now that I've finished ZA 1, 2, and 3, I am reading it in the order where I am going to go back, and the next one I'm going to read in the series is actually going to be Dark Fae by the Twisted Sisters. Like, I'm switching gears a little bit. I think Dark Fae is technically, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong below, but I think it's technically a prequel to ZA, but the reading order that I'm reading this universe in calls for me to switch gears and go that direction next. So although I'm sad to be leaving like the ZA world and I'm kind of like going into new territory with Dark Fae, I am so hooked on this writing. This writing is so addictive. And like I said before, so easy to understand. When you're dealing with the number of characters and locations and settings and themes and orders and powers that you're dealing with in a huge series like this, it can easily get very muddled and confusing, but I never have a problem understanding this one. I really liked it. So 4 stars. So that is going to be it for this week's reading. Another week, another Harry Potter challenge down. I don't think it did me too dirty this time. I feel like it's been way meaner to me in the past. This one wasn't bad. So let's quickly just do a recap of what we read this week. So the first spin of the Harry Potter wheel gave me the pensieve, which told me to select a book with water in the title, on the cover, or on the edges. And I did Barbarian mine and gave this a 4 stars. I will take no Ice Planet Barbarian slander. This is just so fun, and I can't wait to move on to the series. Spin number 2 gave me Gregory Goyle, and it told me to read a book to film or book to TV or book to series adaptation. And I ended up choosing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which was very fitting for this week's reading challenge. And there will never be a time throughout my entire life. This is probably number 12 that I read this book, although this time I did it in a new format because I did listen to it, the Jim Dale Academy Award-winning audiobook, which I had never done before. So I did intake it in a new method, but time number 12 or 13 probably that I've read this book, and it has never been anything but a 5 star. I don't care if I read it 1,000 times throughout my life, it will always be a 5 star. Spin number 3 gave us Justin Fitch Fletchley, and it told me to read a book with a non-magical character living in a magical world. And I did Faded Hearts by Lucia Sky. And I liked this. I ended up giving it a 3.75. It was decent. I am going to move on to the second book of the series with the longest name ever that I'm never going to remember. It was poorly written, to be honest with you. Like, not the greatest writing, but a very interesting concept and plot. And the spice was good. So 3.75 from me. And last but not least, spin number 4 gave us the Weasley family clock prompt, which told us to have a family member spin the family wheel or just pick a book. And Dylan selected Zodiac Academy 3, The Reckoning, and I gave this 4 stars. I have been loving my journey with Zodiac Academy. I find it so entertaining, and like 700-page books read in one day. It's so easy, and I've been loving it, so I cannot wait to move on. And that is it. That was a solid week of reading, my friends. I am so excited to complete another Harry Potter challenge. If you have made it this whole way, comment the owl emoji, because we read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in this challenge, and my favorite character of all time is Hedwig, and we do not acknowledge that anything bad ever happens to Hedwig in this house. Nothing bad ever happens to her. We are in total denial. So comment the Hedwig owl emoji if you have made it this far, and then do all the things that you are so professional at doing, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.